Welcome to the Everyday Warriors podcast, the perfect space to speak my truth and dive into deep conversations with others. This podcast is about celebrating everyday warriors, the people who face life's challenges head on, breaking through obstacles to build resilience, strength, and courage. Join me, your host, Trudy Marie, as I sit down with inspiring individuals who have fought their own battles and emerged stronger, sharing raw, real, and authentic stories in a safe space, allowing you to explore, question, and find your own path to new possibilities. Let us all embrace the warrior within and realize that while no one is walking in your shoes, others are on this same path, journeying through life together. Please note that the following podcast may contain discussions or topics that could be triggering or distressing for some listeners. I aim to provide informative and supportive content, but understand that certain things may evoke strong emotions or memories. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed or in need of support while listening, I encourage you to pause the podcast and take a break. Remember that it is okay to prioritize your well-being and seek assistance from trained professionals. There is no shame in this. In fact, it is the first brave step to healing. If you require immediate support, please consider reaching out to Lifeline on 13 11 14 or a crisis intervention service in your area. Thank you for listening, and please take care of yourself as you engage with the content of this podcast. Love the Everyday Warriors podcast? It would mean the world to me if you were to leave a 5-star review to ensure that the Everyday Warriors podcast is heard by more listeners around the world. You can also support the show for as little as $5 with a one-time donation or by becoming a monthly subscriber. Your contribution helps me to continue bringing you inspiring stories of everyday warriors who overcome challenges to find strength, resilience, and new possibilities in life. Head to the link to buy me a coffee and fuel the next episode. Every bit counts. If you're looking for an inspiring story of resilience, healing, and rediscovering yourself, then my book, Everyday Warrior From Frontline to Freedom, is for you. It is my memoir of hiking the 1,000-kilometre Bibbulmun Track, a journey that was as much about finding my way back to myself as it was about conquering the trail, through the highs and lows and everything in between. This book is taken from my journals and is my raw and honest experience of overcoming trauma and embracing the strength within. Grab your copy now. Just head to the link in the show notes and let's take this journey together. Welcome to another episode of the Everyday Warriors podcast. And I do have a special guest with me today, all the way from North Carolina in the United States. We are literally 12 hours apart from each other, but somehow with the magic of technology, we are here today. So I would like to welcome Kiwan.
Hey, how you doing, Trudy?
I'm really good. How are you? Giving it your nighttime and my morning.
Yeah. So tell me about it. I listen. The warrior is definitely coming from you because you wake up bright and early.
I did have to this morning to do this
Yeah.
recording, definitely.
Mhm.
So I want to start your story, Kiwan. I know you have an incredible story to tell, but take us back around 10 years ago and tell us where you were in your life, what you were up to.
Yeah. So about 10 years ago, which would have been 2015, I was just coming off active duty. I finished that commitment over there, and now I'm switching over to the reserves. My job was in the U.S. Air Force, where I would be doing in-flight refueling. I was an in-flight refueling specialist, and that's where you refuel planes in midair. So
Wow.
just think about that for a second. It was a roller coaster ride for sure. literally refueling planes in midair, whether it was fighters, bombers, cargo aircraft, reconnaissance planes, maybe even other tankers, such as the one that I was on. As long as it was able to be refueled, we would do it. And we could also not only refuel Air Force planes, but we could also refuel Navy as well as Marines. So we were very versatile.
And where were you based out of at the time?
Yeah, so I was at stationed in North Carolina. I mean, yes, I was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina, but I also was stationed in North Carolina at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base.
Okay, my husband was also in the US Air Force.
Hmm.
Obviously retired now and living in Australia, but there is that connection there between us that, you
Yeah,
know, that
one of the best
serving,
branches ever.
I'm sure he says the same thing. So, and in your life in general, what else were you up to?
Yeah, so like I said, when I went to the reserves, my goal was not just to be, still doing my job that I was doing on active duty, but I also wanted to go to school full time. That was one of my main goals, even when I joined active duty, was to get my schooling paid for. Because if you did, I think it's 3.5 years of service, active duty service, and you were honorably discharged, you could get your schooling paid for from any, accredited school, as long as, like I said, you had an honorable discharge and you did 3.5 years. Those were the requirements that were needed. Also, once I got that, commitment completed, I would go ahead and start doing my degree, which was in computer information systems with a specialization in systems analysis and integration. A mouthful just to say, hey, man, learn how to code. And so I learned how to code. I learned how to do a little bit of websites and learn some business lingo for the businesses and stuff like that that I would have to work with. And then I also wanted to commission to become a pilot. And so you need a 4-year degree in order to do that. And I didn't have one yet because that was the reason I was going to school. So that's what I was doing. Well, once we get to the point of my accident, I have 1 year left to get it done. So I was, pushing really hard, working, just going to school, even had my own business. I was the CEO of my own business called Kiwi Enterprise. So this is my second business that I'm going to be talking to you about today. My first one was Kiwi Enterprise, where I did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography for small businesses and those alike. So yeah, that's what I was doing. I was also very active. I always played sports like growing up. So growing up, I was outdoor kid. And then when I got to middle school and high school, I played football and ran track. I tried basketball. I didn't really like it. I played pickup games, like, at the gym, stuff like that. But I did not like organized ball. It wasn't for me. I'm too physical and rough for that stuff. They would have called a foul on me every play. So uh, so I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna play something that's physical, which was football. And then in track, I just ran and jumped. I definitely loved jumping. Jumping was my thing. I did long jump and high jump. I wanted to do triple jump, but they wouldn't let me. I don't know why. And I did hurdles. So yeah, I was pretty real, versed in a lot of things. I played in football. I played pretty much any position other than on the line. I could play anything. It did not matter because my mind just was queued up, and the IQ for it was just ready to go all the time. It didn't matter. So as soon as I switched in that role, I'm now that. So
So let me get this straight. You were in your mid 20s, you'd come out of active duty, you were studying hard at school, you were extremely active off the field, but very, very determined as well. Like you've already got your first business started and like you are going places.
oh
So,
yeah, oh
how did
yeah.
that all change?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I was trying to get my degree so that I could commission to be a pilot. Well, fast forward another 2 years, so you get what's that, 2017? We would be in now May of this time frame. And I was, of course, I mean, living the life. I'm 25 years old at this time, and when I tell you, it seemed like nothing could stop me. I was doing everything I possibly wanted to do, first and foremost. I mean, going on trips, not only for the Air Force, but for myself. If I wanted to go on a cruise, I'm gone, things like that. And so when I tell you I was living life, had a girlfriend at the time, nice apartment, car, motorcycle, everything, business, I'm doing it all. Going to school not just going to school. I was actually making the dean's list. You know what I mean? So I'm not just talking about, oh, I'm getting a decent grade and then I'm going. No, I'm making A's. You know.
Yeah, you're not just
So
cruising under the radar, like you're
eh,
literally working your butt off to get where you wanted to be
yeah,
and
yeah,
doing
no.
well at it.
When I had my accident, I had a 3.87 GPA in college. And
That's
I can remember it
incredible.
like it was yesterday. Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. I took school or seriously. Like that was something that I always took seriously. And so, anywho, getting back to the story, that May 5th, which is the day of the accident. So I kind of give you a run up until the point. Uh, like I said, I had my business, Kiwi Enterprise. Well, that day I would jump on my motorcycle because I wanted to go take some pictures for one of the businesses, one of the websites, which is actually my church's website. I wanted to go update their photos on the website because I looked at the website and I was like, "Oh God, this thing is so out of date." And I wanted to, spiff it up, because it seemed like it was just kind of thrown together, when you don't have anybody that's really what can I say, a legitimate webmaster. Whereas somebody like
Understand?
myself who actually went and took classes on it, you know what I mean? So anybody can put together a template, but can you actually design this thing even if you don't have the templates, even if you don't have this, oh, here's a plug-in. No, I knew how to write code if I wanted something different. I was that person. And
Yeah.
so I was like, let me do this for my church. And I took it over, which was, just something I wanted to do. They didn't pay me a dime. I didn't want to be paid. I wanted to do this for my church. And so, like I said, I jumped on my motorcycle. My apartment to the church, the drive or ride, shall I say, was about, give or take 10 minutes. And for all my riders, you know what I mean. It was probably shorter. And so I get there in about 10 minutes and, I'm taking the pictures of the outside. I didn't have any access to the inside because I don't have a key and stuff. But, I would definitely want to update the outside pictures. And so I get all those pictures taken and I'm like, it's a really nice day, springtime. Sun is out, but there are clouds helping block it, so I'm not getting, wilted. And the next thing I know, I'm like, I got some time to kill. I think I'm gonna keep riding for a little bit because this 10-minute ride is not enough just to go put the bike right back up in the garage. And so I said, let me take off. I'm gonna go to the lake. And I head off to Jordan Lake here in North Carolina for those North Carolinians that know what I'm talking about. And that's about 30 minutes from my church. It's about a 30-minute ride, which is great. That's a beautiful ride, one way. And so I head out that way and no problem. I always go to the same part of the lake, by the way. And if you buy my book, you'll see on the cover the backdrop is trees, a little bit of water off to the right, some rocks off to the left, and like I guess you say like pier slash dock that you can see. You can't see me, but you can see all this other stuff, and it's just that scene. And then you'll see a motorcycle kind of in the middle of it. Well, that was the cover design the day that I came up with mentally, and that they stitched together for the cover design editors. They stitched it all together for me. But that backdrop was Jordan Lake, the actual place that I went to go sit, and that motorcycle was my actual motorcycle. I call her Nina.
I love that you
Um,
name your motorcycle.
yeah, yeah. I named all my cars, motorcycles, everything. I name it all. Everybody has a different name. So all of that's on the cover. And so that actual spot that you can see basically looking down the walkway of the pier slash dock, that was where I would actually sit that May 5th, before my accident occurred. And so I'm just sitting there and I go there to like meditate, zone out, just kind of be at peace. It's so quiet. You don't get a lot of traffic, especially not during the day. And this, like I said, was May 5th, 2017, what some might call Cinco de Mayo. I call my new life journey. And a car would come by on the highway. And this is Highway 751 in North Carolina. And I got startled, of course. So now I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, oh, snap, I got to go. Because I had to work that night for the Air Force, actually that weekend. And I said, shoot, I got to go. I got to go get, go to work and get ready to get out of here. And so I jump on the bike. Here I go. Well, on this back highway, 751, it's like a well, it is not like, it's a two-lane road. The lane that I'm in and the lane that's the cars that's coming past me. So all is well there. Okay. Here, and then also in North Carolina, if you look at that cover, you'll see tall trees. Well, that's the same thing along that back road. It was a bunch of tall trees all the way back. The only time you didn't see trees is at an intersection or somebody's driveway or a gas station, and then they had like a produce farm out there, things like that, where they needed to be cut back, basically. Well, as I'm riding, I had a helmet, full face helmet now, full face. That's all I wore. I don't wear the bucket. I don't wear none of that, the skull, whatever they call it. I don't wear none of that. I wear full face, and I always keep my visor down. And so I don't like bugs getting in. And so as I'm riding, I have Bluetooth capability in my headset on the right side, and I can listen to music. And so I'm not sure if you're familiar with Bruno Mars.
I am.
Yes. So I, again, this is 2017, am more than likely listening to the Bruno Mars 24 Karat Magic album. I am probably jamming out because I love music. And for Trudy, she can see behind me that I have drums and a keyboard. So, I'm a musician. I also do a little bit of singing. So music has been my life for a long time. And I'm loving this album. I'm riding, just, enjoying the ride, and everything was fine until it wasn't. And that was when I would be approaching an intersection and a silver Honda Accord would pull out in front of me. And as I always tell this story, I had three options. I could go right and go into the trees that I told you guys about. I could go left and go into the oncoming traffic because I did mention to you all about that. Or I could do what ended up happening and freeze up and hit him. Because the thing is, some people, not everybody, some people think that motorcycles can stop on a dime. Oh, you would be right. I'll give you the two reasons how, or ways how. The first way would be you lock up the front brake and you flip off of it. The second one would be you laid the bike down or had an accident, basically like I did. Them the only two ways that bike's gonna stop like this. Okay, so I stopped the bike, but it was because of a car,
Got it.
and I was the imprint. And so that was where he would pull out in front of me, like I said, and I would hit him. Now, the reason I know about this because I honestly do not recollect any of this. I cannot recall the actual accident. Now, I do remember everything leading up to it, like I told
Mm-hmm.
you guys about the riding down the street and all that. But the actual accident, thank God, honestly, because I don't think I want to relive it. The reason I know about it is from the police report, the witnesses who wrote something on the police report, uh, what the officers told my mom, the nurses, everybody. The word of mouth is how I found out. And so On the police report, man pulls out in front of me. Okay, now he's at fault. So it was not my fault. Two cars were behind him at this intersection. Same intersection now. They wrote on the police report, they saw me coming. So they don't know why he didn't. And yes, I'm saying he because it was a man, according to the police report. And so when I hear this, it infuriates me because now you were distracted. That's all I can think. If two cars behind you can see me and you jump out in front of me, that means you were distracted somehow. Because, like I told y'all, every intersection, every driveway, every gas station, all the trees are cut back so you can see what's coming. Because the speed limit on this back road is 55 miles an hour. You do not want to pull out in front of, for example, another truck or even like a 18 wheeler. Like I told you, there's a produce, farm back there. What if an 18 wheeler carrying produce came down the road at 55, 60 miles an hour and you pull out in front of it? It's gonna take you with it.
100%.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where, once I found that out, I didn't want to be bothered. Like, because he did want to see me at the hospital when I finally woke up. And I say finally because after being life flighted to the hospital, after being, worked on with countless surgeries for a month and a day, yeah, I didn't wake up until June the 6th of 2017 because
Wow.
I was in a medically induced coma.
Okay, so just to recap everything you've said, you had gone out as part of your day-to-day business doing volunteer work because you are giving back to your church community by helping them with their website. It's a beautiful spring day. You've decided to go out to this lake that you always ride out to, have this beautiful moment meditating in nature, driving home or riding home ready to go to work. Everything is going beautifully. You're listening to your music, having a great old time. And then in a split second, your life has completely changed because of somebody's disregard for the respect of driving a vehicle on a road.
Absolutely. You nailed it.
And you spent, like you said, you spent a month in an induced coma before you were able to wake up, obviously having multiple surgeries. And when you wake up, and obviously you're still in hospital, how is life different for you?
Well, first and foremost, I wake up not really fully aware of where I am. I thought I was at home in my bedroom. I'll be honest. I'm thinking it's May 5th or May 6th. I thought the day had just restarted. Um, and so I wake up, but I'm hearing voices. I'm like, what the heck? Who is in my room? And so, oh, okay, that's my girlfriend. I know why she would be here. Um, Wait a minute, what the heck is my mom doing here? Like, mom, I need you to get out of here. Like, I don't think I'm dressed appropriately for you to be in here. And that's all I'm sitting there thinking. But then I'm listening to the conversation they're having because they are talking to each other. And I hear them talking about some motorcycle accident, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And I could not figure it out because they were doing everything generalized. Well, I wish this would have never happened, and I just hope he makes it out okay, and this, that, and the third. And everything is general. It's he, it's this, it's that, it's I hope, just the general statements. And I'm like, will somebody please say a name? And not once did they say a name. And so now I'm fed up. I'm like, forget it. I'm just gonna wake up and ask them who they talking about. So I wake up. Well, I was already awake, but now I'm revealing to them I'm awake. And that I've been eavesdropping. And so I open my eye only to not be able to see anything. So yes, I woke up without eyesight. It wasn't gradually taken away from me. And so I woke up, opened my eyes, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't see. Okay, maybe my eyes just a little blurry. Let me try that again. Is it dark in this room? Okay, I can't see anything. This is not fun. And and so now I don't like the game that's being played. So I go and I'm trying to say something. I'm like, maybe they did this. And so since it was two people in the room, like, oh, they finna fix this eye problem right now. And I go to say something, only to hear, okay. And now I can't talk because my jaw had been broken and they wired it shut.
How did you feel in that moment? Because to one, wake up and not be able to see, and you're not knowing if this is permanent or if there's something over your eyes, but now you can't speak either and communicate with the people in the room to tell them you're actually awake. What was that moment actually like for you?
I think that was my first time ever panicking. I think that was the first time in my life I had ever panicked because I didn't like what was going on. I felt like it was a nightmare. I felt like I need to just go back to sleep and try this again. You know, like like I need to wake up out of the dream. You know how you feel like when you're in a bad dream, you just wake up like, oh my God, I'm so glad that was a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, mine wasn't. I wish it was. I wish that tonight when I lay down and I wake up in the morning, it'll be over. Oh yeah, whew, that was close. That was a long 7 years. You know what I mean? That's what I'm wishing. That's what I hoped. But now I've learned to live with it. But at that time, oh, it's panic mode. It is full on. Hello, y'all gonna figure this out because I don't like it. Take the whatever you got on my eyes, take it off, and however y'all got me not to be able to speak, I want it done. Remove it now. And so I'm trying my best to communicate. It's one of them on each side. So like I said, my girlfriend and then my mom, and they were on each side of my bed, trying to figure out what I'm saying. And my mom is like, slow down, calm down. And I'm like, calm down? What you mean, calm down? How do you expect me to calm down in a situation like this? That's all I'm thinking. And I'm doing my best to relay messages through my teeth, basically. Because you can't, when your mouth is wired shut, you can't even separate your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
For those who did not know, you cannot separate your teeth. It's not just, you're holding your mouth closed trying to be a ventriloquist, or something. No, it's not that. This is literally no movement of the jaw. She finally says, hold on. And then I say, whatever. I'm just fed up at this point, whatever. And she says, here. And I'm like, what? And she's like, hold out your hands. And so I hold out my hands. And she puts a notepad and a pencil in it. And I say, well, I didn't say anything. That was probably the meanest side eye I had ever given my mom in my life. Okay. And I meant that thing. I was like, really? Are you serious right now? How am I supposed to do this? I can't see, and I keep pointing at myself. I'm trying to talk it, but I'm pointing.
So at this point, they didn't know that your sight was taken, that you couldn't see?
Oh, they knew. They knew that's why she gave it to me because she was like, "But you've been writing." And I'm like, "No, I haven't. I just woke up." So apparently my subconscious was able to function just enough to interact with people. But I had no recollection of it.
Wow.
Medicine is a powerful drug. It is powerful. She just was like, just please, just write it down. Try not to write over top of what you've already wrote. And I'm like, when I tell you I'm frustrated at this point, that doesn't even begin to describe me. Like you know how you see cartoons and their head pops off and stuff. That's what I'm doing right now. And so I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna write this down. If I write over top of something, I don't care. You shouldn't have gave me the paper. I don't really care. Huh. And I shove it back at her. When she reads it, and I basically ask her the question saying, what is this motorcycle accident dream you guys are talking about? And she reads that, and then she turns back to me and says, that's not a dream. That's what happened to you. And I don't know if you've ever heard the uh, phrase that says, felt like you got hit with a ton of bricks.
Hmm.
But that's what it felt like. I got hit with a ton of bricks.
I can only begin to imagine, like, even sitting here listening to you retell that story, I'm sitting here trying to imagine that frustration and anguish of I'm lying here, waking up, feeling like I've just woken up from a dream. I can hear these people talking about a motorcycle accident. I try to open my eyes, I can't see. I try to open my mouth, I can't speak. My mum's asking me to write shit down, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And then she turns and says to you, we're talking about you. This is what's happened. Like, that's a life changing moment in itself
You telling me.
without all the emotion that goes along with it.
Well, just imagine going from I'm gonna play a funny joke and I'm gonna act like I'm asleep to waking up to a panic to going from panic to frustration to going from frustration to holy crap.
Complete and utter shock.
And this is in less than 30 minutes, by the way. Those are all the emotions I went through. And after, she told me that, I didn't interact with anybody for the rest of that day, and probably not until the next day or so. Because now my brain is trying to get wrapped around it.
Yeah, you're trying to process that news.
Well, I'm a critical thinker. I'm a huge critical thinker. So my brain is like, well, how in the heck did this happen? You know? And I never once asked the question until like a day or two later, whatever. I don't remember how long ago or how long it took me, but I know for sure it was another day. It was not the same day. I do know that much. So as I'm processing all this, the worst thing to happen is to allow your brain just to sit idle with these thoughts. And the reason I say that is because I created so many different scenarios in how this could have happened to me. And none of them were that. None of them were, this guy pulled out in front of me and, where I was. Like, I was like, wait a minute. I could have sworn I went to, didn't I have my car? Oh, yeah, that's right. I did go home. And my brain is trying to process the entire situation. But when you come out of anesthesia, when you come out of or being on opioids, because I was on oxycodone, I was on all these different drugs, sleeping medications, like when your blood pressure medication, when you're coming from all these different medications and drugs, and your brain has the fog of the Middle East in fall, because if you've ever been to the Middle East in fall, it's some bad fog. This is terrible what I'm dealing with at this point. You know what I mean? So my thought process behind it, ugh, it's hard to relive it because the emotions that come back from it. Sometimes I get chills when I think about it. Those emotions were just jumping every which way. And I'm even still thinking, wait a minute, I got to go to work. Because I don't even know I still have yet to ask what day it is, by the way.
Hmm.
I found out what day it was because I asked the next day. That was when I came back to talking because I asked the next day what happened. And so all I did was backtrack one day to find out what day I actually woke up. And so I'm just thinking it's daggum, still May, and I still got to go to work. Like I'm thinking maybe it's May 6th versus May 5th now, and I'm
Hmm.
waking up a day later in the hospital, just not unable to move. But I'm thinking I got to go to work. I'm thinking the Air Force is going to consider me AWOL and they're going to put me in jail. Like literally, these are the thoughts that crossed my mind.
You're literally trying to make sense of your new reality, where
Yes.
you are, what you're doing, what you're supposed to be doing, and how much time has even passed. Like that's a whole level of utter confusion for anybody to actually go through and experience. And
Mhm.
you're doing this without your sight and without
Yeah.
being able to talk. Like your basic senses have been taken from you.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't talk, couldn't see, couldn't even smell. I didn't realize I couldn't smell yet. And that was due to the reconstructive surgery that they had to do on my face because my face was crushed in. So I have two metal plates in my head.
Okay.
So Trudy, can you see this little curve right here?
I can see that scar.
Yeah. That's a metal plate right there.
So let me ask you this. You've woken up in the hospital, 25 years of age, with a major life shift of life will never be the same again. How did you move forward from that?
Well, first off, it wasn't easy, and it was not the next day. The biggest thing that helped me, because I'm one of the well was shall I say one of the safer riders you would have ran into as far as motorcyclists. No point intended run into.
Hmm.
But the thing is, once I was told that it was not my fault, it took a lot of stress off of me because I felt at some point I was like, how did I do this? Like what did I do? And I just kept thinking it was me. And then when my mom finally told me it was somebody else, I said, wait, what? Okay, yes, that does take some weight off me, but wait, what? Like who is this person? I want to no, I don't want to know him. I kept going back and forth. I want to know him. No, I don't want to know him. No, I might jump on him. And that's all I'm thinking. And because I'm literally going back and forth that I either gonna hurt this man or I want to know this man. I didn't know what to do because you changed my life forever.
100%.
Yeah, like I told you, he did want to see me. And when I finally woke up, he reached out to I guess the lawyers that we were suing him with to get in touch with my mom and tried to come up to the hospital to at least, apologize and everything. And I couldn't at that time. I could not handle that.
Hmm.
I couldn't. I said no, no. Do you want me to go to jail? And my mom was like, "What?" I said, "Do you want me to go to jail?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I'm going to find a way to get a hold of him because he changed my life." I mean, since then, it took a couple while, a little while, maybe a couple years, but I have since then forgiven him. I have. And I cannot lie. I did forgive him. But at that time, oh no, we putting on gloves, we getting in the boxing ring, everything. Oh, it's gonna be Kangaroo Jack.
A little Aussie reference there. Look, what's there for me is that I don't think anybody listening to your story would be able to say that they probably wouldn't have felt the same way, that they would just want to, hurt this person for hurting you. But at the
Yeah.
same time, to have that much compassion,
Mhm.
to be able to forgive, that takes an incredible human being to do that because most people would not get to that stage.
Right. Yeah. And that's where my faith came in though. Like I was still a faith believer because that's one of the biggest things that got me over and got me through this. And it's still getting me through it today.
Hmm.
Not only am I a musician, but I play at my church. I play drums at my church. So, and I've been playing since I was 10 or 12 at my church. Can't remember now. I'm 33 now. But I started playing the drums at 7, but I started playing at my church about somewhere around 10 or 12, something like that.
I love that, and that you still give back to your community
Hmm.
in that way. And you will get into the music part of it later, but it's such an incredibly beautiful gift to give
Yes.
back.
Yes, it is.
So tell me, after your accident and obviously everything you've been through, all the rehabilitation you've got to go through, learning to live life again, because literally some of your like one of your main senses has been taken from you. What was the turning point after the accident that had you kind of go through? Because I'm guessing that during this time, you're probably like, and forgive me if I'm wrong in saying this, but you're probably like, I just wish I wasn't here. I wish I'd just been taken that day.
Yeah, I had those thoughts. We call those suicidal thoughts. And I definitely had those ideations for sure.
And I don't doubt that at all. So, what
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
turning point then after the accident that had you go, no, this is my life and this is how I'm going to live it?
It had to do a little bit with the people around me and that kept coming to visit me, wanting to call and talk to me. And then you had the just the sure mindset of, oh, there are things that I can do. Like what? And I got curious. So now I'm curious. Not only am I doing, physical therapy because I did have to learn how to walk again. So not only am I learning how, doing physical therapy, orientation and mobility, which is learning how to use a white cane and navigate different areas such as your house, or if you worked your job, they teach you how to navigate around your job, or if you went to school, they teach you how to navigate a school, different things like that. I am also now able to do sports. Are you serious? And I told y'all how I was back in school. I played football, ran track, and I played pickup basketball. Now, okay, I can't play football anymore. I don't want to get hit with a ball or a person. I don't want to get hit with either one of those, a ball or a person. Okay, they both hurt
Mm-hmm.
if you can't see it. And now running, I can still do. I can still hit a track if I wanted to. I don't know if I want to do too much jumping because of the metal parts that are in there. And the land is not as good as it used to be. It's not as soft as it used to be. I can, if I want to, run though. I've done shot put, I've done discus, I've done rowing, I've done archery, I've done air rifle, powerlifting. I feel like I'm forgetting one of them. Sheesh.
The fact that you've just listed off all those things that you have done since
Yeah,
losing your sight is incredible,
yeah,
because most people don't do a single one of those things and have full vision.
yeah. I did rock climbing. I've done downhill skiing on real snow, not the artificial stuff. On real snow in Vermont. I actually did that last year. What? Oh, bowling. I mean, listen, I've actually shot basketball before too, and I'm gonna tell you how I did it because some people probably like, what? How he do that? He can't see the goal. Okay, you're right. I cannot see it. But what I did was I was placed at this free throw line first. The person who I was with took the ball and they got up under the rim and they hit the front of the rim with the basketball three different times. They were like, okay, I'm about to hit it now. And they would throw the ball up. Boom. I was like, okay, I'm gauging it. I'm gauging it. And then they said, all right, I'm gonna hit it again. Now. Boom. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got this. And then they're gonna do it one more time. Boom. Okay, yes. Okay. I'm ready. Give me the ball. And I did not move my head to save my life. Like my head would not move. I made sure it didn't move because that was where the goal was where my head was. Now my arms have to judge the distance based off the sound that I was hearing. And so those sound waves that kept traveling from the goal to my ears is what I was gauging my hearing off of in the distance, the time and distance. I was a math major, by the way. And so now as I'm using time and distance and I'm focused in on where the goal is, like my head is pointed up and everything at where the goal is. I think I took maybe a dribble and then I picked the ball up and I shot it. And I mean, when I say the most perfect form in basketball I've ever shot, because I don't like shooting free throws, but that was probably the most perfect form free throw I had ever shot in my life. And so, when I say that, when I tell you that was the most perfect form, nothing but net. And I don't mean I just hit the net. It went in the basket, swish. I said, they were like, nothing but net. I said, dang, I missed that bad. They were like, no, it went in. I was like, oh. And it was like, I was like, I want to do it one more time. She's like, okay, you want me to hit the goal? I said, yeah, just do it once. I said, okay. And she, boom. And then she handed me the ball back. And then, yes, I said, it was a female. She was doing this for me. And I took the ball and I shot it again. Swish again. I said, oh my God. She was like, do you want to do it again? I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. One more time. One more time. She hit the goal and I took it one more time. I was like, please don't let me miss this. And so I shot it again. Swish. Three in a row. She's like, you want to keep going? I said, nope, I'm finishing on top.
You've got that hat trick. And the question I want to ask with that is that it's been said that when you lose one of your senses, whether that's
Mhm,
vision, hearing, taste, smell,
mhm.
touch, is that it heightens the other senses. Do you believe that's true in your case, that your other senses have been heightened with the loss of your sight?
It absolutely makes you more reliant upon them. And what you do is you just kind of shift your focus. So your brain's focus just shifts more towards it. With my hearing, I do have a little bit of hearing loss, not much, but a little bit of hearing loss in my right ear, and that's mainly due to two things. Uh, the the plane that I was on, the engines, I would sometimes have my headset off the right ear. The microphone was attached to the left, so I would never take that one off because if I needed to speak, I would just already have that in my face. But the right side I would slide off because I can hear people talking that are in the cockpit. I can hear you because we're close quarters. But if we got those engines on and I got that thing off, oh man, it sucks because those things are loud. They're not like commercial airlines. The planes, especially the one that I flew on, it was built back in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And so the insulation is nothing like commercial airliners. When you get on a commercial airliner, be happy, okay? Because we gotta wear these big old bulky headsets that are like almost noise canceling, and some people do buy the noise canceling headsets, but I didn't have the noise canceling ones. Anyway, I would have that off sometimes, and the other thing that kind of messed up that hearing on my right side is the drums, because it's so loud when you play.
Yeah.
But hey, that's all musicians that play in loud, live settings. You're gonna lose some kind of hearing unless you play with some in-ear monitors, and that's why I have these now in-ear monitors because they deaden out the sound.
Got it. The next question I have for you, just on all of that, and it's like kind of just, as we've been going through your story, and I've kind of had this, oh, I forgot about that bit. You said when you woke up, you're like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be at work. How
Yeah.
was it? Because obviously you're still working with the military at this stage. How was it to actually then deal with the fact that you were going to have to be discharged from the military? Because that's the life you had prior to your accident, and then return to civilian life. Like, what was that like?
I think that might have been the hardest part of the reality because like I told you guys, that job is nothing like it. In-flight refueling, and I dare everybody who hears this, please go look up what that is. In-flight refueling, okay? Because when you see this on YouTube, Google, wherever you find it, you're going to be like, "There's no way he was doing that." Yes, it was me. And I was on the KC-135. If you want to know what kind of airplane that looks like, just type that in and you'll see the plane pop up. And so when I was thinking about it, that's where the depression and like suicidal thoughts came in because I would be thinking about this, not just daydreaming, even when I'm asleep, I'm dreaming about this. I couldn't escape it. And so now And I know it was because I loved the job. That was the first thing. I knew that first and foremost. It was because I loved the job. So now that I can't escape these thoughts and these dreams that keep reappearing, literally I'm looking at a jet and I can't see a thing. I'm looking at one though. My brain is creating the image
Mm-hmm.
that's behind me and I'm supposed to be refueling it. When I have these kind of thoughts and these images, the imagery just popping up in my head, it was one of those moments where you knew it was like it's never going to happen again.
That must have been devastating.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're faced with this harsh reality. And I had to make sure that I didn't fall into denial because that was where the suicidal part came from. Oh no, it's gonna come back. My eyesight's gonna come back any day now, any day now. I'm watching the Carolina Panthers game and listening to it on the TV, and I can listen to this game all day long, and I fall asleep, right? And as I fall asleep, the game is on the TV now. But in my mind, I am creating the image and it seems like I'm watching it. So when I wake up to realize that I'm still blind, just imagine how that feels.
I can only begin to imagine.
Yeah, yeah. So when I tell people, like I told my friend today, and I was on the phone with him, I said, brother, when you wake up and you wake up without sight, just imagine it. Just imagine tomorrow you wake up, open your eyes, and you don't see a thing. I said, that's basically what I woke up to when I was in that hospital. One day I had sight, and the next day I didn't.
And I suppose it's a reality that you have to wake up with every single day because when you go to sleep and then you wake up first thing in the morning, your natural thing is to like, okay, open my eyes, start my day, but
Mhm.
you're left with this reality every single day that life is dark. Like
Yeah,
there is no sight.
yeah, yeah. No, seriously. I kind of have learned. I definitely had to learn to deal with this. And he said it best. He said, "Man, you've coped with this well." And I was like, "Yeah, but there are days, you know." And don't get me wrong. I listen when I tell you I get going and I'm gone. I feel like I'm looking at everything I'm doing
Hmm.
because I'm so familiar with the world. I can only imagine what it's like for those who've never seen because I do know some people like that. They were born without sight. But for me, I have seen things. So when I touch something or I hear something, I envision it. And now
Got
I
it.
see it, basically. Like I was just at the gym today. When I touched the bar, I envision what I'm feeling. Okay, these little bump dots on the bar is greedy. Okay, I know what that feels like, what it looks like. Okay, this is the smooth area. Okay, that clink was the lock. And I'm envisioning all of it. I'm not even touching it, but I can hear it. And I
Hmm.
know exactly what it is.
And just based on what you said then, one of the things that you actually told me in your application to be on the podcast is, and I loved it, like it just gave me chills and it gives me chills now, even saying it back to you, is that you lost your sight, but not your vision.
Yeah.
Like such a powerful statement.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I actually got that I mean, I didn't take it from anybody. What I'm saying is I got that in a spiritual moment because somebody was asking me something. I was at church actually, and they just came up to me and they're like they just called me bruh. Bruh, how do you do it? And it was a young lady. She said, I'm like, do what? She's like, I see you moving around church, and this is before the pandemic and everything. I just see you moving around the church and flowing so freely, and you're always smiling, and you just move so carelessly, like nothing ever happened. And I'm like, well, I know for sure it happened, but what do you mean by that? And she's like I just feel like I should be happier in life because I haven't been through nearly as much as what you've been through. I said, well, let me stop you there. I don't want you to compare your life to mine because what you're dealing with is valid. So what I want you to do is realize one thing about me. Yeah, I might be walking around here smiling and everything. I know I lost my sight. I know that part. But what I didn't lose was my vision. And she was like, "What?" And then she bursted out in tears instantly. She was like, "That made so much sense." And I was like, "Well, the thing about my vision is that I've always wanted to help other people. And so, yeah, I lost my sight, but I didn't lose my vision. And that was to help people. So when I'm out here mentoring, I'm out here motivating, inspiring, coaching, that's helping others.
Yeah, such a beautiful way to look at your life moving forward. I have a question inside of that. Did you go back and finish your schooling?
No.
No.
And I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of people ask me that. Are you gonna go back to school? You should go back to school. And I said, well, the reason I was going to school was for the military. I'm no longer in it. That was literally the only reason I was getting a degree. Because I could be in the military without one, first off. I had already had a business, so it wasn't like I needed it for the business. The only reason I needed my degree at that time was to commission. That was it.
Yeah, and you said you had hopes of becoming a pilot. So,
Yeah, that was the requirement. You needed a degree. So that was what I was getting my degree in. And I loved computers. So that's why I chose the background that I was getting it in. It's because I love computers. I love electronics. They're amazing to me.
and the other thing you said was, and I go back, 'cause you've mentioned it a couple of times, like one, I can visually see your drum set behind you, but you said that you'd been playing back in your church as well.
Yeah.
Tell me how music has been healing for you. And I know the power of healing in music because my son uses music, and that's he's a DJ and music producer, and
Oh,
he
nice.
uses it as a healing form for himself. So how
Yeah.
has that been healing for you?
I'm gonna have to get your son's information. Uh anyway, no, so music is awesome, first and foremost. I actually go to music therapy. That's how I'm learning the keyboard right now. Because like I told you, I've been playing drums since I was 7, so I know those. But I still am learning. Don't get me wrong, because I try to keep up with what's going on now, what's relevant now, in the drummers world community, however you want to phrase it. But the keyboard I just started learning in the pandemic, 2020. So I I need to get back on it. The thing is, I keep putting other things on top of it, like my business and things like that. So I put other things ahead of it. Music is healing because it does actually vibe with your soul. Your inner being loves music. Now, be clear, what music you feed yourself will determine your mood.
100%.
If you're always playing sad songs, guess what you're gonna be? Sad. If you're out here playing angry rage, heavy metal, all that crazy death metal stuff, guess what you're gonna be? You're gonna be crazy and out of control. You know what I mean? And even with rap, the way it's changed now, it's like it's not. I wish somebody understood what I was saying because it's apparently that people don't understand that rap, hip hop, all that stuff has shifted so far left nowadays.
It has, and I'll agree with that because I'm a Gen X girl and I grew up with traditional 80s rap. So the rap of today is not the rap
Yeah,
of yesteryear.
come on now. And so I'm a 90s baby. So when you hit even the 90s era was actually pretty cool in rap and in R&B and stuff like that, especially R&B. So I love rhythm and blues. Neo soul is pretty good. I grew up in the church though. So gospel, quartet, things like that. The contemporary is okay, but it's getting a little too far out there too. Like they're actually. Have you heard of Afrobeat?
No.
So Afrobeat came from, gosh, please don't. I hope I'm not saying this incorrectly, but I think it's Kenya. It's from Africa, of course, but I think it's Kenya. Don't, if I misspoke, I'm sorry, they'll correct me. But anyway, they're actually throwing that in gospel music now. And it's actually for like rap songs, like stuff that you rap on. And that's my thing. Like trying to mix that stuff, you're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just try to stay in what I control or can control. And as far as music healing, it has done a lot for me because I listen to if I'm feeling a certain way, especially about my day, if I need to get my day started, there's this song out called "Good Day" by Forrest Frank.
Hmm.
So if you've never heard of it, I hope you guys can get it in Australia. I'm pretty sure you can. And that is a song that will get you going. I mean, it's just such a beautiful song to start your day. And one lady that I did a podcast with, she's like, what songs do you listen to? And I think she's from Canada. And she's like, and I told her that one. And she's like, oh, I don't think I've heard it. I said, well, it goes like this. And I started singing it to her. I'm about to have a good day in every single way. And she's like, oh, yeah, no, I do know that song. Me and my kids listen to it every morning before they go to school.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I was like, perfect. That's a great song for them to listen to before they go to school so they can have a good day in every single way. So, yeah.
I love that, inside of music and healing and
Mhm.
using it for therapy is that, even now, just hearing you sing a little bit, hearing you laugh, like
Mhm.
you haven't lost the zest for life
Right.
despite everything you've been through.
Yeah. Yeah. Could have easily, and that's what I told somebody else. I could have easily turned to the dark side easily. And I don't say no point intended because
I,
it is
I
dark
don't.
the way I see.
I don't doubt that at all. But inside that, you're using that gift, I suppose, to one, become a motivational speaker, and
Yeah.
two, create Amy Motivation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, no, Amy Motivation came about and I had this wasn't like day one. Oh, I'm gonna be a motivational speaker. Listen, I have never wanted to be a person that stood in front of a bunch of people just speaking, okay? Never. Hear me clearly. Now, in front of my family, my friends, I can be a clown and get in front of me all day and joke. I've done acting before. I used to be an actor. Like all of that stuff is cool, but when you literally have to be the guru, the expert, the I know what I'm talking about in front of everybody that's in the audience and they're just staring at you, I never wanted to be that. But I got a superpower. You want to know what it is?
Tell
I
me.
can't I can't see you. Literally, I cannot see you. So whether it's me and you or me and 1,500 people in this room, I can't see you. My job is to deliver a message that impacts you.
Oh,
And that's really what my mind was shifted to. Instead of me worrying about how many people are there, did we sell any tickets? Did this? No, man. Hey, your job is to tell your story. Your job is to motivate. Your job is to inspire. Your job is to impact, connect, change somebody's life for the better. And so when I got that mindset and just started attacking things that way, everything shifted. The doors started opening. I mean, like floodgates. Because I stopped worrying about the wrong things. I started worrying about the things I can do versus the thing I couldn't do. Amy Motivation is not just about me doing keynote speeches. I also put videos of me working out at the gym on Instagram. Why do I do that? It's not to show you my muscles. It's to show you that this guy that was bedridden for well, no, it was longer than that. It was about four, 4 months. This guy that was bedridden for 4 months is now bench pressing over 225 pounds, is now squatting over 225 pounds, is now deadlifting over 225 pounds. That's what it is to show you that if I can get up out of a bed where I've been literally cut from head all the way down to my right foot and can still do that stuff, what's your excuse? Because they now call me the excuse destroyer.
Wow.
So I suggest you get in, you should get on board. That's what I suggest. We can get on board and do this thing together. Let's be excuse destroyers.
You have literally hit me in all the feels, and I'm like, there is no excuse even in my life right now for whatever I want to do. Like
Mhm.
that in alone is just, yeah, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked about the adaptive sports. I talked about and I actually compete, not just, participate. I compete in adaptive sports as well. So I've won medals. Um, I have actually been uh what do you call it? Invited to the Paralympics rowing team for tryouts. I've been invited to that.
That's
That's
so
Team
cool.
USA, Team USA, by the way. For the people that don't know what I'm talking about, I've been invited to those tryouts. I don't just I mean, yes, I play the drums and I've been playing for a long time, but I do it very well. It's not like I'm just playing them just to be playing them because that was something I did before. No, I play them at a high level to the point where I can travel with people and be their drummer.
Hmm.
And I do so much that sometimes I forget. Like even the book, I forget that I wrote it. Until somebody brings it up, I forget that I wrote because my thought process was not to be like, yeah, I'm an author. What you gonna say about that? That was not what the book was for. The book was to tell my side of the story and literally put you in my shoes. So, these different things that I do, the speaking, the mentoring, the coaching, the ambassadorship, because I'm an ambassador as well. I
Hmm.
don't just do that for me. It's not to give notoriety to me. It's to help and benefit others.
I totally get that. It's one of the reasons I wrote my book after everything I'd been through. It's why I'm a life coach now as well. It's why I do the podcast to share other people's stories. And I just think what you have created out of such adversity is commendable but courageous because
Mhm.
most people would literally give up and be like, life is over. And you
Mhm.
have turned it around and made it into something so incredibly powerful.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Well, I want to thank you for being a part of the podcast. Before I finish up, though, your book is available on Amazon for my listeners.
Yes, it's on Amazon, Audible, Kindle, and Apple Books.
So people can get it from literally everywhere, which is
Yeah,
great. I'm definitely
yeah,
going to get a copy myself. I'm more curious to hear about your story.
yeah. Oh, by the way, the title is Don't Focus on Why Me, from motorcycle accident to miracle.
And you literally are a miracle, Kiwan. Like it has
Thank
been
you.
an absolute honour and privilege chatting with you today and hearing your story. And I think some of your little life lessons that you bring out throughout the episode will definitely resonate with my listeners.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on your platform to tell my story.
You're most welcome. And I always finish the episode by asking, what is the one thing you are most grateful for today?
Life, honestly, because I should not be here. If you ask any surgeon who did a surgery on me, I should not be here.
I
I've
love
even
that.
talked to one. I have literally actually talked to one face to face after my surgery. And he was like, what the heck? You know?
Well, let me just say, I'm so grateful that you are here today with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Everyday Warriors podcast. If you have an idea for a future episode or a story you'd like to share yourself, then please reach out and message me, as I am always up for real, raw, and authentic conversations with other everyday warriors. Also, be sure to subscribe so that you can download all the latest episodes as they are published, and spread the word to your family and friends and colleagues so they can listen in too. If you're sharing on social media, please be sure to tag me so that I can personally acknowledge you. I'm always open to comment about how these episodes have resonated with you, the listener. And remember, lead with love as you live this one wild and precious life.